Hey guys, and welcome into another video. Today we're going to be going back to our roots of the channel with our first official mock draft, the Christmas mock draft. If you guys are new to the channel, of course, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment, all that, share the video, turn those notifications on so you don't miss a video. If you guys are unfamiliar with the channel, a year ago today I released my first official YouTube video, which was the Christmas mock draft, and from there we've grown so much. So once again, I want to say I appreciate you guys so much. It's my YouTube anniversary, so again just thank you so much. Definitely want to take time and just say thank you guys for all the support over the last year. It's been amazing, and the continued support that I've seen on these videos and stuff, so it does help me out a bunch as well. It does really mean a lot to me, so thank you again for that. I also want to shout out the music that you hear in the background in all my videos. My man Dobey Dobe, if you guys haven't listened to him, he's got a new song out right now, but one of my good friends, I want to say, and just also amazing for letting me use pretty much his whole catalog for all my videos as well. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy and thankful for the opportunity that you guys have given me as a YouTuber, and just to share the content I love to create. And let's get right into it with our first official mock draft. Now we're going to go into the picks here to preface out everything. It's not going to be very much statistical. It's going to be more anecdotal, just kind of talking about the players, why I think they fit, why I think they would go in this direction compared to another direction. As we get into the 7-round mock drafts, it's where I'm going to get more or less talking about the players more statistically, what they've done in their college careers, etc. So that's going to be more of the deeper things. But this is just going to be our official mock draft, just kind of talking about the players in that sense and going over why I think they fit where they do. So this is the draft order as of Christmas Day, and we're going to go into it here. I did my draft on thedraftnetwork.com as well. So if you guys do want to do a mock draft of your own, I'll leave a link in the description for them. I usually use their site as well. So without further ado, let's get right into it. With the first pick in the NFL draft, we all know what the pick's going to be. It just depends on what team is here, and that's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Trevor Lawrence, the Clemson quarterback, 6'4", 230, man. This guy has been a generational talent ever since he stepped on the field for Clemson 2 years ago, 3 years ago almost, and I don't see any way he's going to slow down. Hopefully he keeps the hair all throughout his career. You know, we've seen Justin Herbert and stuff. The players get the haircut, and it kind of changes the man. You know, I really want to see this look keep. I know this is so anecdotal; it has nothing to do with his statistics. But no, looking at Trevor Lawrence, we all know that this guy is a generational quarterback. This is more hype than I've seen. Andrew Luck coming out of college get. Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, that kind of stuff. This guy is legit. He was a first round. He would have been a first overall pick the past 3 years in the draft, and that's no bull crap. Like, he literally is that good, and he can change a franchise around. You put him in an offense like Jacksonville, who has a solid offensive line. They have another pick later on the first round, which also can help them out. But you look, they have DJ Chark on the outside. They just spent a pick on Laviska Shenault, who I was very high on last year. James Robinson was an amazing undrafted rookie signing from them, who was going to be their running back for the future. They could use a tight end. They can address that later on in the draft and such. But this offense is already better than what I would say the Jets offense is. It's got a lot of pieces, a lot of young pieces at that, to where Trevor Lawrence is going to be able to step in there and make this offense run even smoother than before. Sucks to see Gardner Minshew kind of lose his starting job, but he didn't do anything this year to really suggest that he should keep it. So Jacksonville, congratulations on losing more than the Jets, because the Jets beat that insane Rams team last week, which is crazy. But you guys have won the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. Now at pick 2, the New York Jets, I have them selecting Gregory Rousseau, the Miami edge rusher, 6'7", 265. This guy's a beast. Now, before anybody, the biggest question is, why would you have them get Trevor Lawrence and then now not get, Justin Fields or anybody? I don't think they need a quarterback. I really don't. I think Darnold is at least good enough to at least, get through his contract. If you want to switch up or get a veteran or something like that, I understand. But I don't think it's worth taking a rookie here when you can really bolster your team in other ways and believe in Sam Darnold and build this offense around him. There's going to be a new coach. If you feel strongly about a quarterback, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, and Justin Fields are the ones that come to mind as a first rounder. Maybe Trask, but I really don't see it obviously being this high, especially. But I think that without getting Trevor Lawrence, that's the only reason why you should spend the first overall pick, or you should spend your first round pick on a quarterback if you're the Jets. Because other than that, getting a guy like Rousseau, who is an absolute beast of an edge rusher, to add alongside, Quinn Williams on that side, they really were, that's why they got rid of Leonard Williams, because they weren't seeing that production from the edge side. They need that production. That defense has been astronomically horrible this year, and they are able to at least bolster it slightly more with a pick like Gregory Rousseau. They have a lot of holes to fill, a long way to go, but I think that if you can't get Trevor Lawrence and you're deciding to pick a different way, if you still want a quarterback, maybe trade down a couple picks and get somebody there. But I think Gregory Rousseau is the pick here, and I think this would be a great tandem to have him with Quinn Williams for the long run. Going on to the 3rd overall pick Easy pick. This has been mocked for months now, it seems like. Penei Sewell out of Oregon. Huge offensive tackle. He, another guy, has been a top 5 pick for the past 2 years. He would have came out any time. But Sewell coming out this year, he's going to be able to protect Joe Burrow, which we've seen was a horrible thing for the Bengals to do, was just not protect him at all this year. So to get a guy like Sewell on there with a couple other first-rounders on their offensive line, I think this is definitely going to help more than it hurts. Spend some more picks, maybe some free agent money on the offensive line. Really just be able to protect your investment in Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow was playing absolutely lights out this season, even though it wasn't translating to wins. You get that offensive tackle to help him out. I think it'll really do a lot for you as a Bengals fan. Bengals, what do you think about this pick? I think there's a lot of holes that the Bengals could fix. I mean, it's obviously a big win against the Steelers last week, so that's very good for them. But overall, this team has a lot of holes to fill. Definitely can use some more young talent as well. I think they're not too far away, maybe a year or two away from competing, but I really do like what the Bengals have in young talent, such as T. Higgins, still having Mixon, extending him as well, and of course Joe Burrow on that offensive side. So Penei Sewell adding to that would be amazing. Going on to the 4th overall selection, Micah Parsons out of Penn State is the selection here for the Carolina Panthers. Kuechly left a big hole there at the linebacker position, and Micah Parsons is without a doubt the best linebacker in this class. Not even close. He's an absolute monster, 6'3", 245. He really can do a lot for a defense like the Panthers. So to add him on there with a lot of young talent on there, we know they have Yetur Gross-Matos and Brian Burns there, Dante Jackson on the outside. They have Jeremy Chin, who's had an amazing rookie year for them as well at the safety position. Getting Parsons there will really re-bolster that defense to where, this is what they look like, under Ron Rivera. So now under Matt Rule, Matt Rule is, I think, a very good coach, and they have their offense pretty much figured out with DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, Christian McCaffrey, Teddy Bridgewater, all there. They can invest in a tight end later. They can do offensive line more as they need it. But overall, you can't pass up on a guy like Micah Parsons here. I really do like this pick. I think it'll do a lot for them as a team. Now we go over to the 5th overall selection, and that is going to be Justin Fields, the Ohio State quarterback, playing for the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I think of this more similar to a situation that we saw Herbert in this year, compared to a situation where, Jordan Love with Rodgers, or what's another one, Hurts with Wentz. I don't think of it as a situation. I really do think of it as the passing of the torch. When is it ready? Same thing, maybe even a Daniel Jones-Eli situation. Because Fields, I think, Ohio State has this tendency to create first-round products and not show up as first-round products. Cardale Jones looked good, didn't pan out in the NFL. Dwayne Haskins looked good, hasn't panned out in the NFL. J.T. Barrett never really panned out. It wasn't really I don't even know if he got drafted, actually. I think he was a late-round pick. But besides the point, Fields looks like he has the most talent out of any Ohio State quarterback I've seen in a long time. And he has the ability. He had a very, very, very rough game last week, which is, telling. Ohio State is a big scheme-based team. But if Ohio State can produce a quarterback that succeeds in the NFL, I think it'll be Justin Fields. Having him play behind Matt Ryan for a little bit, if they decide to keep Matt Ryan, or giving him the reins day one and letting him build, because a lot of these guys are phasing out. It's going to be more or less Fields and Ridley and whoever they decide to have a running back, more than it's going to be, Gurley and Julio and all these older guys. It's going to be a lot more of a youth movement. They're moving towards that rebuilding spot, and this is a good way to start it, is getting your quarterback for hopefully the next 20 years in Justin Fields. 6th overall pick, Ja'Marr Chase, the LSU wide receiver, easily the best wide receiver in the class, not even debatable, has been for a year, would have been a top pick last year if he came out. Obviously wasn't eligible to, but now he is. Now, last year, Dolphins fans, I spent a lot of time mocking for the Dolphins. It was a very interesting draft. They had 3 first-round picks. It was very cool for them. I mocked them receivers multiple times. I think I gave them Ayuk in my first mock draft, everything. I got slandered that you guys do not need a receiver, saying all these things. I think it's apparent the Dolphins need a receiver, and I think it's the biggest glaring hole is that Tua needs a partner out there. Devontae Parker's been good, but he hasn't been great. He hasn't necessarily lived up to the contract, but he hasn't really done anything bad. But I really like Parker. Parker's a great number 1. Besides that, man, Preston Williams has not really made a big jump. Jakeem Grant hasn't made a big jump. Allen, what do you call it? I can't even think of Albert Wilson is what I meant to say. Albert Wilson, genuinely, none of these guys are long-term options. Ja'Marr Chase and Tua are going to be a 1-2 punch for their careers at this point. And to have him pair alongside with Devontae Parker, and you obviously have Mike Gesicki in there, a good running back in Myles Gaskin, and you have another pick later on in the draft to hope that offensive line, because the defense is perfect. Brian Flores has done everything that he can for that defense. Yes, there's different spots you can bolster as well, but Ja'Marr Chase getting his receptions from Tua Tagovailoa would be absolutely astronomical for this team for the long-term future. 2 young, all-pro talented ceiling players on one team. If you're a Dolphins fan, I don't know how you could even dislike that, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you want a different position, let me know, but I think Ja'Marr Chase is the perfect fit here. At the 7th overall pick, I have the Eagles selecting Patrick Surtain, the second out of Alabama, 6'2", 202. I love me some big corners. I'm not going to lie. If they're big and they can still keep up with the route running and the speed, then they are perfect for me. I fall in love with these guys. But Surtain has been a beast. Another guy where, he has been good for the past 2 years, man. This guy is somebody who really can change a lot for a team like the Eagles. Now, the Eagles are in a weird spot because they could use a receiver. I don't really think it was worth reaching. Maybe you go for Devonta Smith. But I feel like it's a little bit high. But getting a corner to pair alongside Darius Slay, because the corner has been such a rough spot for them so long, and having a couple good corners is good. We know they have a lot of decent corners that they've stuck around with, but they've stuck around with them for years and years, and it really has only hurt them more than it's helped them. So get Darius Slay a running mate to be a nice 1-2 tandem, because we see the teams that do that are always succeeding. You look at some of the best corner tandems, Stephon Gilmore and J.C. Jackson are the reason Patriots are still in games. Obviously they're out of the playoffs, but that's the reason they're still in games. You go over to the Bills with their secondary. There's a lot of teams that have great secondaries, and that's having a revolving door, not as your number 2 corner. Your number 3, number 4 corners, they can be a revolving door, switch out. But if you have a solid 1 and 2, it's game over for teams. And that's what I think Patrick Surtain can bring for the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles fans, what are you thinking? How is this season looking for you? Are you happy about Hurts? Do you want something to happen with Wentz? Let me know in the comment section below, because it is a different thing. And, of course, if you guys aren't already, please be sure to leave a like, as it does help me out a bunch. I've already said that. But also, if you guys don't realize already, these are all just my personal opinions. These are my picks. There's no right or wrong answer. This draft order is not going to be the same. These picks aren't going to be the same. There's going to be a lot that changes in a long time, so hopefully you guys can enjoy that as well. But we know what it is. It's a mock draft. Things happen. Then we go to the 8th overall pick here, where another corner is coming right off the board, and that's Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech, not Michigan, who is just an absolute beast as well. Another big corner, 6'2", 207. Really plays the ball well. I really like that about Farley's game. Virginia Tech has a couple picks this upcoming draft where it's looking pretty nice for them, so I'm glad to see them back. Back producing really good talent. Back in the Michael Vick days was very good. But you look at what Caleb Farley can do for a team like the Cowboys. We've seen Trevon Diggs have great games and horrible games. We're not really sure where he's going to be, but other than that, the loss of Byron Jones has been so big for them this year. And this is a team that really doesn't have an identity. So having Diggs help out with Farley as well, and Owusu hopefully staying there, I think he needs a contract this year, so hopefully you can re-sign him. This is a secondary that's going to be a lot better than what it has been. And this is a very weird division, but this division's really up for grabs. It depends on what team is going to do the right moves this offseason to build a winning team. And that's really what Dallas could do with the return of Dak Prescott. But we'll see here. But I think Farley is the perfect pick for them in that situation. Now, back-to-back Virginia Tech players, as offensive tackle Christian Darrisaw is going to go off the board here, has really just come on this season as one of the top offensive tackles. And when it comes to the Chargers, especially when you have a young quarterback, you want to protect them as much as you can. The Chargers' offensive line has been a work in progress for many, many years, and it's hard for them to build it while also trying to build a competitive team outside of it. I think this is a year that they might be able to finish it with some money in free agency, as well as the talent that you could get in the draft, and especially in the later rounds, deeper down. We saw, the Giants got Shane Lemieux late in the draft. Tyler Biadasz went late in the draft last year. A lot of good talent comes later in the draft, especially on the offensive line, if you can develop them right. So hopefully the Chargers can do that. I'm not really sure what's going to happen with the coaching, what style they're going to be playing, but Darrisaw can help them out immensely at any point. It doesn't even have to be Darrisaw, it could be anybody, but I see him as the next best tackle here at 9th overall. With the 10th overall selection, the New York Giants, I don't think they'll be picking here, but at the moment they are. My New York Giants as well are going to be taking Kwity Paye out of Michigan, edge rusher, 6'4", 272. Edge rushing has been an issue for the Giants for many years. We've been through the Chase Young rumors of trying to get him, which obviously would have been great. The D-line has been phenomenal this year. We've seen Leonard Williams and Dalvin Tomlinson and Dexter Lawrence do well. Hoping that they can retain all three of them would be huge. If one of them does go, it's going to hurt. But also getting an edge rusher like Kwity Paye, who can be alongside guys like Carter Coughlin, who has had a good year, Kyler Fackrell, who's had a pretty good year when healthy, as well as guys like Lorenzo Carter, who got hurt pretty soon on. And I really thought this was going to be his breakout year, and he unfortunately suffered that injury. So Kwity Paye is going to be able to jump right in there for the Big Blue Giants and just really get some pressure. And that's really what they need, is some more pressure. I think that a lot of the stuff on the offense is pretty much figured out. Offensive line looks pretty solid. Tight end obviously is a Pro Bowl, and Everett Ingram. Receiving core, you could go after a guy in free agency if you need another one, but Tate, Slayton, and Shepard, if healthy, are very, very good together. They know how to run an offense. Daniel Jones, when healthy, has been showing improvement, I'd say. And then Saquon Barkley's arguably the best running back in the NFL when healthy as well. So helping out that defense as much as you can. If not Kwity Paye, I'd go after a corner just to kind of figure that out, get another island corner like you can with Bradbury on their side. But other than that, Kwity Paye is a pick here for me. Then we go over to the 11th selection, which is going to be Jaylen Waddle, Alabama receiver, who is hurt and is not going to be returning for his Alabama season, but has immense speed. I mean, this is comparable to Henry Ruggs. If you told me who's going to win the foot race, I couldn't tell you. I wouldn't be a betting man on that one. But Waddle is very much a talented receiver on top of his speed. And that was the thing with Ruggs. When you compare Ruggs and Waddle compared to guys like John Ross, it's that it wasn't just speed. It was their ability to break on routes. It was their ability to make tough catches. And we've seen that in the NFL from Ruggs, and we're going to see that in the NFL with Waddle. The reason why I have Waddle here over some other guys like Rashawn Bateman and Devonta Smith is I feel like he just fits a lot more. If they're able to keep Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones, those are big-bodied receivers who are going to be able to go up and get the ball. Having that speedy route-running receiver to join on the Lions with Stafford or with whoever they decide to run with, I think it's going to be very big for them. I think that this is a offense that's set up to be a disaster, or to be like wreaking havoc on defenses with Swift, with those receiving cores, with Hawkinson as well, who's a Pro Bowler this year. It's set up to be a very nice offense for the transition from Stafford to somebody else as well. This is the offense you'd want to step into and be the quarterback of. Then we're going over to the 12th overall selection. That's going to be Wyatt Davis, the offensive guard out of Ohio State, 6'4", 315. Another guy where I think is just going to help out a lot on the 49ers. We've seen quarterbacks go in and just get absolutely pummeled, which sucks, obviously, for Jimmy G's case. But if you're sticking with Jimmy G, or maybe you transition from Jimmy G to a free agent quarterback like a Jameis Winston or somebody of that effect, Brissett, or I don't know, anybody that you could have there, you're going to want to protect him. And I think Wyatt Davis is a guy who not only is a solid player, but you could also move him around. You don't really need to keep him at any certain position. He could pretty much play all the interior positions. Probably could even kick him out to tackle if you needed, but you don't. So I think it's a very set piece for them because Wyatt Davis can move around. Put him wherever you feel is the best place for him to continue to bolster that line with Trent Williams obviously leading them with the veteran leadership at left tackle, and he's been amazing this year for them when he's there. So again, another team that is pretty much a really good team at this point. It's not like they're picking here under their own faults. It's injuries. So let's protect some people and let's get Wyatt Davis. Then we go over to the 13th overall selection where Jaycee Horn, the corner out of South Carolina, is going to be coming off the board, 6'1", 205. Like I said, those taller corners are always something that I look for. I really do like them. But besides that, Horn, another guy where he's going to help out a lot. Paye obviously had that suspension this year. But overall, the secondary just has been getting thrown up on a lot, and it's needed of help. They could go after an edge rusher to kind of transition from Von Miller, but I think Von Miller and Bradley Chubb have some more years together. There's a lot of different places the Broncos could go, but a lot of people even had them as a fringe wildcard team coming into the season, so I don't think they're too far away. Getting another corner to help lock down that secondary in Horn would be very good for them, and I think that that's a piece that will be there for a long-term option as well. Another year of Vikings taking the very unsexy pick. Last year they did get Justin Jefferson, which was it's obviously panned out well, but also it was a very sexy pick as well. Going back to unsexy, it was either interior defensive line or interior offensive line, but either way, they're going to get a guy in Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC where he really can move around the offensive line wherever you need him to be, but getting a guy who can just pretty much help, Vikings offensive line is another line that really has not been a premier offensive line in a very long time. So to get a guy like Vera Tucker to at least hop in there and help out in any shape or form, can help out Dalvin Cook's durability, can help out Kirk Cousins or whoever you decide to become the quarterback after Kirk Cousins. Just a long-term option to just bolster protection. We've had some misses. You've had some good selections. Time to complete that offensive line once and for all, and I think this is a good place to start with Vera Tucker. 15th overall selection, the New England Patriots are going to get their Gronkowski replacement. You're always going to hear that until they find him. And Kyle Pitts, it's not supposed to say Miami, it's supposed to say Florida tight end, out of Florida, obviously, 6'6", 240. He's been catching passes from a Heisman frontrunner at this point in Kyle Trask all year, and he has proven to be an absolute beast at the tight end position. It's not very common that you see a tight end go this high, and I think Kyle Pitts can really do a lot for this team. This team needs weapons. This team needs to score the ball. Cam Newton's been rushing the ball too much. They're really not throwing the ball much, and it's really hurting the development of guys like N'Keal Harry, Jacoby Myers as well. So getting Kyle Pitts, it'll help this team not only keep that youth movement going, transition away from the Brady period, but can help you out immensely with the talent that this guy has under his belt. So Kyle Pitts out of Florida to New England. Then we're going over to the 16th overall pick, where the Bears are going to be taking a quarterback, and it is going to be Trey Lance out of North Dakota State. Now, the reason I have Lance over a guy like Zach Wilson is we've seen Zach Wilson play a lot this year, and we know what he has, and he has immense talent. I'm just not sold on him completely. It might change throughout the draft process, but Trey Lance, I think that, one, he's been proven to be a top quarterback prior to, obviously, he only had one game this year, but also on top of that, the combine and everything is really going to help Trey Lance. I think he's going to show out there as long as he does participate in as much as he can. So Trey Lance out of North Dakota State, I think, can really be that guy to transition from this weird Trubisky, Foles, all this confusing era in the Bears timeline, and get them back to the playoffs where they deserve to be. You're wasting the careers of Khalil Mack, and it's hard because the Bears are such a good team, but that quarterback play is so hit or miss. Some games Trubisky throws for 300, sometimes he throws 3 interceptions. So getting a guy like Trey Lance, a dual threat, you're able to use Montgomery, who's looked like a very solid running back this year, especially late in the year. On top of that, hopefully keeping Allen Robinson as well, you can transition into a more, modern style of NFL. Hopefully Matt Nagy can make better play calls with a guy like Trey Lance, who can be a dual threat, is a very good rusher with the ball as well, and build from there. Chicago, I think you're finding a franchise quarterback finally in Trey Lance, and the Trubisky era can be over. With the 17th overall selection, Joseph Osai out of Texas, another edge rusher, 6'4", 253. This Raiders front seven has not been anything to talk about, anything to write home about this year. They have talent. They've spent draft picks on Cleveland Farrell. Max Crosby has been a very good pickup for them. But other than that, man, they need help getting pressure. And sometimes they do very well with it, and sometimes they look so bad. They're among the bottom tier defenses this year. So getting any help on defense is really going to help you. And I think getting Osai is going to help, especially getting to the quarterback, chasing down those quarterbacks in that division. You're playing Patrick Mahomes twice a year, who can do some magical things. Getting a premier edge rusher is at the top of your board to stop a guy like Mahomes. So getting Osai, I think, is just the perfect fit for the Las Vegas Raiders. With the 18th overall selection, he finally comes off the board, a Heisman finalist, my Heisman pick, Devonta Smith out of Alabama, 6'1", 175, very, very thin frame. Hopefully he'll build some more muscle up with that, but he is fast. He is a great route runner. He has proven he's made Mac Jones be a Heisman finalist too, just for his ability. Really, Devonta Smith has been an absolute beast. It's hard for him to fall this far, but we've seen this a lot. Receivers are very hard to come by. We've seen DK Metcalf fall to the second round. Calvin Ridley fell late in the first round. A lot of teams don't like taking receivers early. I think Devonta Smith is ready to come off the board here and help Lamar Jackson and Hollywood Brown on that offense, and Mark Andrews, get another weapon, because it's so hard to see Lamar Jackson not be able to run an offense completely because of the lack of talent there at the receiver position. Hollywood Brown is not what they wanted him to be. They want him to be a lot more. He's still good, but he is not what they wanted him to be. And you look at other than that, Willie Snead, Miles Boykin. I mean, there's nothing really amazing about this offense. Getting Devonta Smith is not only going to help Lamar Jackson as a quarterback, but it's going to help the other receivers like Hollywood Brown, like Mark Andrews as well, even the younger guys like Boykin, get more production for this team. And I think that's huge for a team like Baltimore, who really is in the prime of their career, should be competing for the Super Bowl every single year. And instead, this year has been kind of a wishy-washy year where they might not even make the playoffs. So Baltimore Ravens getting a guy like Devonta Smith, absolutely huge. I'd be a big fan of seeing Lamar Jackson throw to guys like him and Brown every single Sunday. Washington's going to follow up the 19th overall selection here with another receiver, Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota. Now, this is a spot where maybe Zach Wilson would come off the board, but where I'm looking at Washington, who is most likely going to make the playoffs in the NFC East, you don't want to make the playoffs and then next year draft a rookie quarterback, in my eyes. You're going to want to go for those veterans. You're going to want to try and throw a contract to a guy like Jameis Winston, who has sat behind the Drew Brees, and Taysom Hill and learned. You can go after a older quarterback that may be on the market, maybe a Matt Stafford, maybe a Matt Ryan, or you can even trade for a guy like a Carson Wentz, who can be the franchise quarterback for you. You can even draft a quarterback later. You can stick with Alex Smith. There's many options that you can do as the Washington football team. What you're going to be getting from Rashad Bateman as well is a big target in 6'2", 210 frame. alongside Terry McLaurin, who's more or less that speedy route running guy. You have guys that I like on there, like Cam Sims has been very good. Logan Thomas has been very good for you. But overall, this offense has really been underdogs every year. Antonio Gibson, Logan Thomas, Cam Sims, these guys are not guys that you want to be riding into the playoffs every single year. It's bolster up that offense. The defense looks phenomenal. There's some pieces that can be fixed later on, but getting a guy like Rashad Bateman, who has legit wide receiver 1 talent, kind of comparable to A.J. Brown in my opinion, I think that getting him alongside Terry McLaurin as a 1-2 punch for the long run is going to be perfect for the Washington football team. At the 20th overall selection, Shaun Wade out of Ohio State is going to be selection here, 6'1", 195. This is a great year for corners. If you need a corner, there's probably one for you. I think last year was a good one as well, but this year I might even be better. But Shaun Wade, what he's going to do is take over for Patrick Peterson. Man, Patrick Peterson has shown his age. He's not able to keep up with receivers like he used to. But we have a young guy in Byron Murphy who's played very well. You have a young, superstar in Budda Baker in the secondary. You're going to get Chandler Jones back alongside with the rest of the talent there. Isaiah Simmons hopefully can come within his own and find where he needs to be playing. This team is so fun to watch with DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray, but it's missing some pieces. Getting a guy like Shaun Wade to be a replacement for what Patrick Peterson's production should be is going to be huge for them. I think he is one of the best corners in the draft. I think the deal with him opting in, opting out, opting in kind of switched up and made it to where he might not be as great as he might usually be if he would have played the whole season or done. It's a weird situation with Shaun Wade, but I think that might work in his benefit because he's going to be going to a better team like the Arizona Cardinals. Going over to the 21st overall selection, I'm going to try and pronounce this name, and you're going to make fun of me for it. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I think I nailed that. I'm not going to cap. But Notre Dame linebacker, 6'1", 215, speedy, can get to the outside, chase down running backs, quarterbacks, etc. Adding that to a Dolphins defense who has really done a lot for them. They obviously got rid of Raekwon McMillan this last season, sent him to Las Vegas. So replacing that interior linebacker position where they've spent draft capital, but it really just hasn't panned out, would just bolster this defense more and more and more. I mean, I can't even imagine if they kept Micah Fitzpatrick how good this team would be. But nonetheless, getting a guy like Koramoah would be huge for them just to help out this defense. They could go offense here. There's a lot of things they could do. They could go after a running back if they don't believe in Gaskin, go after Etienne. They can go after they already got a receiver in Jamar Chase. Maybe going after some offensive linemen. There's a lot of offensive linemen there as well, but I think that Koramoah is the best available player here for them and fits the defense as well. Getting one offense, one defense player is really going to set them up fairly nicely for the next year. With the 22nd overall pick, Tufele out of USC, big D tackle. Him and Vita Vea will be an absolute beast defensive tandem there. I think Sue's going to be gone after this year. So Vea, obviously, hopefully being healthy. He's dealt with a lot of injuries. Getting Tufele to be in there with him, Jason Pierre-Paul, Shaq Barrett, if they extend him, they have Wyatt and David as well. This is a very talented team. I would say they could go Zach Wilson if they are thinking maybe Brady's last year or maybe Brady retires after this year. We don't really know what's going to happen with Tom Brady. So this is a pick that can change in a million different ways. We don't know what's going to happen with Antonio Brown, etc. So I think Tufele right now is the best pick for them. But as the offseason progresses, they could go after a guy like a Zach Wilson here or a Trask or even, getting another receiver, getting help at the tight end position. There's a lot of different moves they can do. Right now, I think Tufele is the right pick, though. At the 23rd overall pick, again, kind of like the Washington football team selection, I'm taking Jaylen Mayfield, the Michigan offensive tackle, because I feel like this team is so good and so competitive that they would benefit from trading for a guy like Carson Wentz or Matt Stafford or Matt Ryan or somebody like that because they are ready to compete now. I don't want to see them have to get a young quarterback from the draft, especially when they just spent a draft capital on Jacob Eason. I think if Eason's looking good in camp, if they believe in him as a backup, obviously Brissett's been the backup there, but if Eason has been learning well, Eason could lead this team. And I really do think that Eason is a solid quarterback, and I think he could lead this team and be that good of a player. So protecting whoever's going to be back there is important in Mayfield, helping out the offense as much as you can. Another guy who you can move around a lot as well, just helping protect as much as you can. There's a lot of different things the Colts can do, but overall this team has been a very, very good team this year, and I don't see them being bad for a long time. So helping out as much as you can, spending your money, trading assets the right way, and Ballard has been doing that for years. Mayfield is a good pick here. 24th overall selection, a cornerback out of Georgia. We're going to see another one come off the board not too long from here, but Eric Stokes is going to be the selection here. Greedy Williams has not panned out like we thought he might in the NFL. I really thought he was going to be a lot better than he has been. Denzel Ward is an absolute beast, one of the better corners we have in the NFL. Unfortunately, he's not always healthy, so just getting any help in the secondary can help out a bunch. Not much more to say about this. Obviously, a lot of this depends on what moves they're making in the offseason. I think Baker's earned the right to keep being the franchise quarterback like it is. Chubb and Hunt is an absolute tandem that you cannot beat. Harrison Bryant, Hooper is very good there. If Odell is staying, you have Odell. Higgins, who's been very good this year, as well as Landry. I think offensive-wise, you're pretty much set. Offensive line is good, so it's really time to focus on the defense, especially that secondary. Stokes is going to help you. I think he's the best available corner at this time. With the 25th overall pick, I'm taking Creed Humphrey with the second selection from the Jags. So now they have Trevor Lawrence. You might as well protect him as much as you can. Get Creed Humphrey there. He could be your center starting day one if you want to move him around. Again, another guy who can move around as well. But out of Oklahoma, not Ohio State. I don't know why. That's two colleges. Apologies for that. But, 25th overall. I think that Creed Humphrey's going to be an absolute beast at the next level. He just has an IQ that you can't teach. That's just something that is good for any team, let alone a young team like Jacksonville, like I said, who really is trying to make their identity known. And this offense, pretty much right here, getting Humphrey, getting Lawrence, is set for the long term. You can focus on defense and free agency in the rest of the draft, wherever. I think this offense is stacked at that point. Maybe another tight end. A tight end would be good. But Creed Humphrey, I think, is the right pick here. Protect Trevor Lawrence as much as you can. With the 26th overall selection, I'm going to have the running back out of Clemson, Travis Etienne, come off the board here for New York. Frank Gore's not getting younger. He's pretty much gone after this year. Michael P. Ryan, everyone didn't really show anything to be special. And if you're the Jets and you want to help Sam Darnold, now that you have Gregory Rousseau, you're going to get him another weapon. I think Denzel Mims is good. I think Crowder is really good as well. I think he's one of the better, most underrated receivers in the NFL. You could sign somebody in free agency, go after maybe a Juju or something like that. But getting a running back in Travis Etienne to be a franchise piece as your second first-round pick, I think that's perfect. Spending your only first-round pick on a running back is risky, but Etienne has proved he is the best running back in the nation. I mean, comparably to him or Najee Harris, it's really up to you, but Etienne, I think, is the best pick. He's been doing it for a couple years now, same with Trevor Lawrence. So getting him into New York to pair alongside with Sam Darnold, Mims, a lot of young talent there, kind of rebuild this Jets team as much as you can. Losing out on Trevor Lawrence does obviously hurt, but I think Etienne can be a franchise running back for this team. Like I said, another Georgia cornerback is going to come off the board in Tyson Campbell, 6'2", 185. Titans, since losing Logan Ryan, and even before that, have looked pretty rough at the tight end, or the corner position, I mean. Malcolm Butler's nothing anymore. He really was good for a couple years, but other than that, has not been great since then. Adoree Jackson is somebody I really like, again, but I think Tyson Campbell can just help him out. It's never too bad to have too many corners. Christian Fulton hasn't really done, as much as I know, enough this season to really lock down a certain position in that secondary. And like I said, it's never bad to take enough corners. You go after another edge rush or something like that, but how the board's looking right now, I think the best pick for them would be Tyson Campbell. The 28th overall selection is going to be from Pittsburgh, where they're going to be taking Zach Wilson, the BYU quarterback, who I think could benefit from a year under Big Ben. We saw that Big Ben said he was coming back, ended up having a horrible performance last week against the Bengals. But getting a guy like Zach Wilson, who can back up Ben, come in, take the reins from him like Daniel Jones did from Eli comparably, I think can do very well for them. He's got a young, talented roster with Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, James Washington, Ebron hopefully to stay at the position, but obviously Benny Snell and James Conner the running back. There's a lot of talent here on this offense where Zach Wilson's going to be able to help them out for many years to come, and you don't need to rush him into the starting job, because that's the biggest question is how good is this Zach Wilson kid who's having a phenomenal year this year, one of the best college quarterbacks, but how good is he for the long term? Is he just a good college quarterback? Can he translate to the NFL? Those answers are going to come with sitting behind Big Ben for a little while, and then we'll see how great of a quarterback he is. I think he's going to be decent, but getting him here this late in the draft I think is going to be nice for the Steelers. 29th overall, they've avoided it many, many years. They need interior linebacker help. The Saints are selecting Dylan Moses, who would have been a top pick had he not been injured. But Moses is just an absolute beast, man. 6'3", 240, fast, strong, everything you want in a linebacker. Is reminiscent of the older Saints days, the bounty days. I really do like what Dylan Moses could bring to a team like the New Orleans Saints. Very happy to see them get some help on that defensive side in that linebacker spot. And I think there's not much else you can say. I mean, there's different things they could go with here, but Moses is the best pick. Best player available, I think, by far for their roster. Dylan Moses is the pick. 30th overall selection, I have the Bills taking a corner out of South Carolina. Israel Mukuamu, 6'4", 205. Now, I've been high on Mukuamu. I think he's going to build a lot more draft hype. He's a fringe first-rounder right now. There's some corners that are ahead of him, some are behind him. For me, I do see him as a late first-round pick. I think he's going to be very good at the next level. Obviously, 6'4", he's going to be a bigger guy. He's not going to be as fast as everyone else. But to pair him alongside their strong defense, add more to that, I mean, man, there's nothing else you could say. I mean, this is a team that you are already scared of in Buffalo. Mukuamu would just help them out that much more. I think that he would be able to be a number 3, number 2 corner at day one. You know, he's that good of a player in my opinion. I think he has that much upside. He's one of my favorite players coming into this draft, into this college season, and he stayed that throughout the season for me. So Mukuamu going to the Bills, a playoff team, a Super Bowl contender, honestly, I think is going to only benefit them. Now with the 31st overall selection, the Green Bay Packers are going to be selecting Terrace Marshall out of LSU. We've seen him shine, obviously, under the Joe Burrow days. It's been rough days at LSU since, but the Packers can't avoid taking a receiver any longer. They need to go after one. They're getting one here with Terrace Marshall. Not too much else to say. They need more help. I think Lazard is going to be a very good player. Valdez-Scantling has proved that he's decent, but obviously Devontae Adams is Devontae Adams, but adding another receiver to that, I think that's a good solid tandem, because you'll have Devontae Adams and Marshall probably be the 1 and 2, and Lazard and Valdez-Scantling can really help you out, being that number 3 role, number 4 role, etc. Injuries don't have to plague the team. If somebody gets hurt, with Lazard hurt, we saw all the targets go to Adams, and it's been good, but Marshall can really help you out. And then the final pick for Kansas City, in this mock draft, the Super Bowl champions, but I'm taking Samuel Cosmi out of Texas. Now, is it a need? No. I think you could replace Eric Fisher, but the thing is, this is a team that does not need much help, man. They just need to do what they can. Mitchell Schwartz is out, and they don't really have too much of an answer for injuries like that. Cosmi is easily a first-round pick. It's not even a question for me. And he's kind of raw as well. So if you want to develop him for a year and replace Eric Fisher after, that's great. If you want to move him around, that you could do that as well. If you want to just keep him as a backup, it really doesn't matter. I think there's just no way that Cosmi falls out of the first round unless they fall in love with somebody that they really think could help out their team more. But looking at the board, looking at what Kansas City quote-unquote needs, I just saw that there's no way they could pass up on an easy first-round selection in Cosmi and let him walk. So that's going to be the end of the mock draft. Again, thank you so much for all the support over the years. I hope you guys did enjoy this first official mock draft. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below, what your team's pick is, who you think your team should target as well. Again, these opinions are all my own, so be sure to let me know what you think in the comment section below. Nothing is right or wrong. Let's just have a discussion about it. Of course, happy holidays, Merry Christmas to you all, and I will see you guys next year. Obviously, I'll see you in the next video, but if you guys did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn those notification bells on, everything. If you didn't enjoy, just refresh the page, check it out again, let me know what you think the second time. And without further ado, that's going to be for me. I'll see you guys in the next one.